It's 7:40 on October 21st, and I'm in my car in a parking lot. Don't freak out, okay? In a parking lot at a maternal fetal medicine clinic because I have gestational diabetes. So yeah, I've talked about this before. I got diagnosed with gestational diabetes. The way it was explained to me is that it's not necessarily that you were eating bad, although I will admit I did not eat very good the first, 20-ish weeks of my pregnancy. So, but you can have other issues, right? Like insulin is a hormone. I've been on a bunch of hormones. I have hormone issues. I have endometriosis. So there's a lot of things that contributed to gestational diabetes. Moral of this story is that I actually do have it. And as soon as I found out that I had it, I switched my diet to a low carb, high fat diet. Basically, I cut out all added sugar. If you know me, or all sugar, period, really, not even just added sugar, most sugar. If you know me at all, you know that I have a serious sweet tooth. I love cookies, cookie dough, anything with sugar, but mainly cookies and cookie dough. So I completely cut it all out. And I lost 7 pounds, but my baby gained a pound in my belly. So she was still doing exactly what she was supposed to be doing, and I just dropped down to a weight I really should have been at. But yeah, it made a huge difference. I have been able to completely control gestational diabetes with this nutrition plan. Like I said, it's low carb, high fat. For those of you who know macros, which are your carbs, proteins, and fats, what I am personally doing, and again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not even a certified trainer or whatever. So before you do anything, please talk to a doctor. If you're pregnant and you have gestational diabetes and you're like looking for ways to control it, please talk to a doctor before you do anything I tell you to do. Like, this is just my experience, what has worked for me. My macros, I use the app MyFitnessPal just because it helps me keep up with things. So my macros, I do 20% carbs, 50% fat, and 30% protein every day. And I try to stay under 80 grams of carbs a day, which is still quite a bit of carbs, but it's less than like the normal American diet, right? So that's what I've been doing, and I've been able to completely manage gestational diabetes with that. My glucose levels have stayed low, and not only have they stayed low, like I've had a couple days where they've gone up if I ate, something that had higher carbs. For example, one night we had ribs and mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes and zucchini, and so there were like 30 grams of carbs in that meal just from the vegetables. So the next morning my glucose was a little bit higher than it usually is. So moral of my story is I get all my carbs from veggies for the most part. And I have found a lot of good alternative recipes. So Swerve is a sugar alternative. I've made cheesecake. I've made cookie dough balls. I forget what else we've made, but I've made a few things with that sugar alternative, and it's pretty good. So if you like want to have something that makes you feel like you're eating something sweet, that's a good alternative sugar. But anyway, yeah, so today I have an appointment in 10 minutes to do an ultrasound with the diabetes doctor, the fetal diabetes doctor, to check and make sure that little girl is still growing the way she's supposed to, that she's still in the percentage she's supposed to be in, percentile. And then an hour after that, I have a doctor appointment with my regular OBGYN to just check, see how things are going, because I'm 34 weeks pregnant today, so it's almost time for baby. But I just wanted to talk about gestational diabetes for just a second. So that's my story. That's kind of how I've managed it. On my Instagram, at the Fit Mom's Life, I'll tag it in the notes section. I try to share recipes that I find, or meal ideas, low carb meal ideas, low carb recipes, no sugar recipes, things like that. So I've got to check my blood sugar first thing in the morning, which is my fasting blood sugar, and then 2 hours after I eat every meal. So 2 hours after breakfast, 2 hours after lunch, and then 2 hours after dinner. So 4 times a day, I have to prick my finger and check my glucose levels. But I've been doing that for a while now. Ooh, she's moving. Oh my goodness. I wish you could see it. I don't know. You can't see it. Okay, anyway. So that's my gestational diabetes story. I'm checking my glucose 4 times a day. I've completely managed it with a low carb, high fat nutrition plan. And I haven't been able to work out because every time I tried to work out early in pregnancy, I had a lot of complications, or I would have pain or start to have contractions or something crazy. So if you are allowed to work out, that would help even more. But anyway, so that's my story. I just wanted to share a little bit of that about gestational diabetes, about what I know about it, what has helped me. Again, please talk to a doctor before you do any sort of change in your diet or nutrition plan. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I definitely am not a gestational diabetes doctor. So that's what I know. That's what's helped me. And like I said, follow the Fit Mom's Life on Facebook and Instagram for some of my recipes, some of my meal ideas, and things that my family eat with me. Because like I said, this is a nutrition plan that my husband sticks to when he's training for Ironman, which he's still doing because he won his age group at Ironman Chattanooga, and we will be going to Kona next year. So he's still very much in the high fat, low carb nutrition plan, getting ready for Kona. So that's that. If you have any questions, or if you've had gestational diabetes, send me some comments, like send me messages. I want to know your experience. I want to know how it affected you. I'm going to do another video on depression with pregnancy, because that's something I've experienced this pregnancy and I did not experience in my last pregnancy at all. Same with gestational diabetes. I did not have it with my son, but I've had it now with my daughter. So I'm going to do a couple more pregnancy related videos, but I want to know your experience with gestational diabetes. I want to know how it affects everybody. So let's go into this doctor's appointment and see what they say. Okay, that appointment is over. I took a total of, I don't know, an hour and a half. And baby looks good. Baby looks great, actually. She's 5 pounds. So there's no reason to worry about an early labor or induction, which was, my son was induced early. So that's good. Now we move on to the normal OBGYN appointment just to check on how things are going. So this is my gestational diabetes story. This is the end of it. This literally is, there's not much to it. She told me whatever I was doing to manage my sugars was working. I told her that I was doing high fat, low carb, and she was like, keep doing it. It's working. Again, talk to your doctor before you change anything if you have gestational diabetes. Disclaimer. But she said it was working for me. Keep it up. And now we just wait to go into labor. How crazy is that? So if you have gestational diabetes, or you've had experience with it, or you know someone who's had experience with it, tell me your story. I want to know. I want to know other people's experiences. So that's it. That's all my story is. It's kind of boring, but trying to share a little bit more so people can know they're not the only ones going through it, and share my experience with high fat, low carb, and how that has completely managed my glucose levels.